how did this start? Where did you? What was the first thing that got you into thinking that you were going to do this quite epic project?
Well, I first started hearing this music recorded in the 20s, and I'd grown up listening to kind of punk and pop and rock. But when I heard this music that recorded back then, it had this raw urgency to it, this excitement. And a friend of mine had called up, and we were thinking about doing a project about it, and said the 3 oldest surviving bluesmen in the world are all coming to Cumbria. Homesick James, Robert Lockwood, and Sonny Honeyboy Edwards, and we just literally put a crew together and interviewed them. Yep. And the material was so fantastic, we thought there's a film behind this. And then it evolved into tracking down this machine that had made those first records.
And so when how did you hear about the machine, and what was the moment where was it already built, or was it being assembled?
It hadn't been built yet by that stage. I was trying to find anybody that had any photographs or any information about it, and there was nothing out there at all. And a friend of mine in Los Angeles said, there's a guy, Nick Berg, that's into this stuff, and he's like in some secret laboratory working on it. So I went to his house and said, we're thinking of putting a film together. And he brought out 2 little pieces of the gear, like monkey's claws, and he goes, this is the cutting arm, the cutting head, and here's one of the original wax discs. And I said, there was these big iron doors. I said, what's behind there? And he said, you can't come in there. So I went back 2 years later, and I said, what's in the big room? And he sort of said, I finished building the machine. Wow. I've recreated it. Wow. And once we realized he'd rebuilt it, we thought we have to get performers on it. And I'm really honored that Bettye's arrived tonight, because Bettye was the very first artist we invited to appear.
I really don't know anything to say except I'm so happy, and I keep crying. And his mom is even crying, and I keep crying.
Well, I just want to thank everybody who helped to make this project, and a great many of you are in this room tonight. You know who you are. You've flown from America, from Scotland, from Germany, some of you, and I want to thank everybody. I'm from the USA. Thank you especially to Steven Segaler, to Anthony Wall, to all of our executive producers who couldn't make it because they're on tour, and thanks very much to every single person who helped make this project.
Yeah, and I'd like to say thank you as well to Steven Segaler, who commissioned this, and Anthony Wall, who was tirelessly supporting and commissioned this.
Where is Anthony? Where are you? Oh, there he is. He's hiding up the back.
And
typical
Stephen, where are you? There you are. And lastly, if you would give a round of applause to our wonderful editor, Dan Gitlin, who did the most terrific job putting this together. Yeah. And to Jack McLean, our co-producer. And thank you to all of you who've helped with this. Well, parts 1, 2, and 3. Oh,
bizarrely, part 3 you can see in Hawaii in a month at the Hawaiian International Film Festival. Part 1 will be screened, will be premiered in Amsterdam at IDFA in November, and the whole series, part 1, 2, 3, and 4, will run in February, March next year on PBS in America, and on BBC Arena Strand here in the UK.
And there might be previews at BFI South Bank.
I hope so. Which
is a rumour at this stage.
Yeah.
But keep your eyes on our website.
Yes, there will be several soundtrack albums. There'll be a soundtrack to this show, and then there will be a soundtrack that will accompany the trilogy, episodes 1, 2, and 3, which celebrates the American music of the 20s and 30s that inspired this film. Well, after a decade of recreating the machine, with help from people like AT&T and from the Scully family, and Katie Scully, she's here today, her great-grandfather invented this machine. I guess we had about 45 days in the studio overall, didn't we?
Yeah, no, it was actually about a month. It was about a month. It was two artists a day, back to back. Yeah. So they literally they came in the morning, they arranged the song with Jack White for maybe an hour and a half, and they were straight into record. And then lunchtime, and the next act came in.
Sorry, mate. You've had two already. I'm gonna cut you off there. Not being rude. Can I just ask Bettye? Could you tell us about your experience of taking part and recording?
It was completely overwhelming because I think I always accuse the young rappers and the younger artists of thinking that they created the entire thing. But I'm sure that there was a bit of that myself, because seeing this really, really humbled me and made me know that it didn't start with me, even though I started in 1962. It started so long before me. It more humbled me than anything, just seeing how hard they had to work, how difficult it was to be heard. It's absolutely nothing now. If you've got to wait for some guy to come from New York to Louisiana to discover you, it takes 2 or 3 days longer than you being able to like fly to New York and audition. You know, it was just more of a humbling experience to me than anything else.
Sure. And so when you recorded, when it was done, did you, I don't know how it works, but were you able to immediately play it back and listen to it?
Yeah, we basically, as soon as they'd cut the wax discs, we literally dubbed those discs, and those exact recordings are what you hear on the soundtrack. Wow. With nothing done to them at all. And basically this technology, when this came out in late 25 and started being used in 26 and 27, that machine you saw is the reason we have talking pictures today in the cinema. It's that exact same machine. As soon as they saw what it could do, those engineers that were doing those sessions went to Hollywood and brought that machine in, and that's why there's sound on all the pictures you're watching today. It's that machine. That was the first machine that recorded.
You should maybe weave that into your press releases.
Yes, we're actually taking it on the road. I think South by Southwest want to bring the machine to Austin and have as many artists as possible. The best artists win competitions to record on it.
They can afford both the machine and the artist.
They're a pretty big festival, South by Southwest.
I know, it weighs a ton. But you have there's like a presence in the recording. It's a rawness to it. Because everything's done in one moment. There's no compression, you know.
Is that next March for the next one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great, fantastic.
It was a surprise to us. When that cable broke, there's none of that cable left in the world. It's the last piece. They don't make it anymore.
But you did get the pieces.
We did.
Yes.
And so he sort of said, I know an upholstery shop, and we were completely unaware of this, and he literally just got in the car, we followed him in the camera, and he started sewing it up, and he revealed to me later that his first job when he left school was as an upholsterer. And so he says, as an upholsterer, he noticed upholstery stores as he drives down the road. So he'd spotted that store, so it's exactly as you see it in the film. We basically thought it was over. That was it for the day or the week, you know?
I think his
yes, exactly.
I think his record label is called Third Man.
Yes.
And the upholsterers he worked for was Third Man.
That's right, well. Yeah. They were just the songs that it was a combination of all the artists. The artists there are exactly the artists we invited. We never invited anyone else. Those were the first people we chose, and everyone that we wanted to come came. And so nobody else was invited. We did get the record company occasionally suggesting if we could have other artists do it. And we just chose songs that we found particularly moving from that time, or that we thought were suited to a performer.
Yes, and the other thing that was important to us was to make sure that we were inclusive as possible to represent the true diversity of the roots of all the music we hear today. So we wanted to be sure to include Mexican, Latino, African American, even Hawaiian, and you don't hear much of that or enough of that today on the radio. So we crossed America from Cleveland, Ohio in the north to Mobile, Alabama. We went from New York to Hawaii, and we found so many interesting people and so much wonderful music, and we wanted to capture the rich diversity of that rich tapestry of America that we could, and I hope we managed to do that in the film you saw.
What thrilled me is that you captured the rich diversity of America. And I'm thrilled and so flattered about that, had I not even been involved, just that you captured the musical diversity of America. I was just thrilled.
Thank you. I think we did our job then.
Yes,
Thanks so much.
Yeah, we've unearthed a number of recordings that no one's ever heard before, film footage that no one's ever seen before. But I guess most importantly to this film is this is basically the blueprint of how sound recording started, and no schematics had survived to this machine. I mean, literally we had like 2 blurry photographs for Nick to put the whole thing together. So he had to learn literally from scratch how to use this machine, and it's incredibly complex. And it's a testament to him and also to Jack White's skill as a producer, and Duke Erickson's skill as a producer, who did an incredible job working with the artists to actually learn how to record on this machine.
Fantastic. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking Bernard, Allison and Bettye.